Every league start or new zero to mirror challenge, I am able to craft items like this worth double-digit divines for just a few exalts. How do I do it? Open Affix searching. Number one, what actually is open affix searching? This is just looking specifically for items on trade site that have open affixes and that we can add to with exalt orbs. We can do this in two ways. The first is the most tedious, but can also reap the most rewards.
Well, there's this thing called a not filter on trade site.
Yeah, boy.
This is like the opposite of the and filter. So if an item has a certain affix, then you won't see it. If you stack up enough of these filters, you can essentially remove all the stats on an item that aren't the ones you want to see. So with belts, if we remove these suffixes, then the only suffixes we can ever see are resistances and plus charm slots. This means you're either finding belts with 3 out of 3 suffixes you want, or you're finding belts with a combination of the suffixes you want and open affixes that you can slam exalts on.
The OP thing here is that a lot of the time, people will price their open affix items the same as the items without open affixes. This means we can buy open affix items, slam exalts onto them, and if we hit, we profit. And if we miss, we can pretty much just resell them at the price we bought them at, which essentially means we have a chance to vastly improve an item, and if we don't, we lose nothing. No risk, only upside. Take this body armor for example. We bought this shit for literally 1 exalt. If we slam percentage ES here, we can turn this 1x into like 10 div. And if we miss, we can just resell it for the same or even more than we bought it for. We hit. Plus 10 div for us, thank you, sir. I know a lot of people are thinking like streamer luck or like crafting in PoE 2 is just gambling. But like, come on, man. If you buy 20 of these bases, you are going to hit. And if by like some statistical miracle you don't, we literally only lose like 30 exalts on 20 bases. So like max loss 30x, average expected gain like 5 to 10D. Like, what is there to even say? This shit's so broken. And it's literally how I make my first 20 to 30 div every league or new zero to mirror challenge. This doesn't just apply to belts or body armors, but like literally any rare item in the game. The only thing you need to do to make this strategy work for you is to figure out what the useful stats on the gear you're targeting is. I'll use ES gear as an example since ES is the most meta base type of the league by far. ES armor pretty much always cares about 3 things. High ES on the prefixes, and attributes and resistances for the suffixes. So to go back to that 1 exalt body armor I bought earlier, what was I looking for there? My qualifications were that 2 out of 3 of the prefixes need to be any combination of high flat ES, high percentage ES, and mid to high spirit with 1 open prefix. This means I can find gear that looks kind of mid in its current state and will get filtered out by most people's trade filters, but has the potential to become absolutely insane if we get a lucky exalt slam. At the beginning of my challenge, when I had less money, I was looking for a lot more in my filter. So for example, instead of looking for 2 out of 3 of these prefixes, I would look for either high flat ES or high percentage ES. And then I would just try and slam for the other. You're not gonna be making 10 div off that if you hit. It's still like a 50 or 60x gain. And that's kind of a good segue into my next point, which is just that there is one problem with the strategy, and that's sometimes the filter can be too strict. What if we're okay with the situation I just mentioned, like having shittier affixes on the gear, so long as it has 1 or 2 stats we care about in an open affix? Well, with the not strategy, you're going to straight up over filter some potentially solid items. But did you know that there is literally an open prefix / suffix line inside the trade site? I feel like this should be common knowledge for how important it is, but very few people know it exists for some reason. I myself just discovered this like a week or 2 ago. So it does the same thing as the not filter, but it's a little bit less strict, which has, like I said before, its pros and its cons. If it's less strict, it means that the item quality that makes it through the filter is a lot lower. But at the same time, it's a lot easier to set up. It's less strict, so although the item quality is a lot less high, you're still going to be getting good items. So if you're lazy or your strategy doesn't involve only getting turbo high potential items, you can just use this. I would say use the not filter if you want to spend less time searching and trading, and just want to find those items that have the potential to go infinite. And then use just the open affixes when you're looking to do a lot more trades, but make smaller amounts of profit. There's one last thing I want to go over, and it's kind of niche, but it's something that I definitely use pretty frequently, and that's finding good fracturing bases. So say you want to craft this disgustingly good wand, and you're looking for a wand to fracture +5 lightning on. Well, your options are kind of this. If you just like search through normal wands with +5, the minimum is going to be pretty much around a div. If you look for magic bases with +5 on it, which just means it has only 1 or 2 stats, then it's going to cost you around 4 div, maybe even more, maybe a little less, but around 4 div. If you use the open affix search for wands with +5 lightning, you will be able to find some, not a lot, but some wands that have +5 lightning and just kind of some shitter stats, but 2 open affixes. And these are perfect for fracturing bases because fracture bases only really care about how many affixes you have, the minimum being 4. So if you have an item with only 4 affixes on it, you are going to be pretty much 50% more likely to hit the fracture than an item with 6 affixes. And as you can see, the price are the same. So this is just pure increased chance to hit with no cost to it at all. Anyways, that's it. I'm sure you guys probably have some questions. I try to make these videos like as quick as possible and not, ramble on for too long. So if you do have questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can. I also stream pretty much daily at this point. So if you ask me a question in my Twitch or YouTube stream chat, I answer like 99% of those chats. So feel free to ask questions there. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, if you guys want to see more content like this, then please like, comment, and subscribe. See you later.